Yo, listen close. This ain't no rumor mill. This is the kind of story that make the lights flicker in every powerful room. They say when the feds kicked down them doors, it wasn't just about Diddy. It was about the tapes. Hundreds of cameras. Rooms bugged from the ceiling to the carpet. Politicians, preachers, princes, celebrities, all of them could have been caught slipping. Now think about that. Imagine every smile, every drink, every late night whisper recorded and filed away. That's leverage. That's blackmail. That's the kind of power that don't show up on Forbes, but it'll make billionaires bow their heads. So here's the question, and it's the only one that matters. Is Diddy really the villain at the center of this storm, or just another pawn in a bigger, dirtier game? Stay right here. We're about to break it down.
Every room was bugged, and that he did have tapes and information on a lot of different celebrities and people in the music business, people that were in politicians.
He really liked me a lot, but I think when I ran for politics, that relationship busted up.
Working for Diddy for 6 years trained me to have to be perfect.
Working for Diddy?
Absolutely.
I love Diddy. You know, he's a good friend of mine. He's a good guy.
He expects.
Is he a good guy?
I don't want to answer that
Oh,
question.
well, I
don't
think
know.
he's a good guy. I'm going to stick up for him.
Now to Sean Diddy Combs' investigation. New surveillance video shows Combs being taken into custody in a Manhattan hotel last week.
They say the house was a kingdom. Every room had a story. Some stories were jokes. Some stories were hits. Some stories, the ones that make you look over your shoulder at night, were recorded. I remember when I first heard it. Every room was bugged. That line hits different if you've been around the block. To have a room bugged means someone planned to keep scores. To have hundreds of cameras means somebody wanted a replay. Someone wanted receipts. Now imagine you're a famous face. You walk into a room with money, liquor, and people who don't care where the cameras are if the lights are right. Imagine the worst you can do when nobody thinks it will be logged. That's the nightmare people are whispering about.
So when this happened, when the raid went down, everybody thought Diddy was running. Everybody thought he was gonna go to a country that doesn't extradite, and they were kind of comparing it to like Russell Simmons. How Russell Simmons went to a country too.
Right.
What'd you think?
Well, I think that he wasn't gonna go nowhere. They knew where he was at. They got your phones tapped. They're gonna stop your flights or whatever. They knew exactly where he was at. I don't think that when they have a warrant, a search warrant for a residence is not for a body. If they had one for a body, they would have brought it in. Now, if they would have went there and they found guns, drugs, and Diddy was there, they would have brought him in. You know what I'm saying? They would have brought him in. Like they brought his sons in. And then they want to know, well, why are these unlicensed guns in the house? Who drugs do these belong to? All those things like that. But a lot of people probably believe that, you know, they just want to know, and the government want to know what things those people were doing on those tapes and who was doing shit on those tapes. Because I heard they found like 250 cameras or something like that.
That's what they say. They said they found a lot of cameras.
Right.
There's a lot of rumors about him recording some of these parties, and he's using a lot of this stuff for blackmail, like a lot of celebrities, even as far as politicians. You know, I think even Little Rod said that Diddy had every room taped and bugged.
Right. Well, in his affidavit or his deposition that he gave to the courts, he said every room was bugged, and that he did have tapes and information on a lot of different celebrities and people in the music business, people that were in politicians, and like I said, in other platforms, people that was in the ministry. Allegedly.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Now, if the feds got their hands on these tapes, you can very well see like a domino effect of coming down on everybody.
It depends on what's on the tapes.
Listen to that man. He's not talking about the glam. He's talking about the cleaning. When your job is to erase what happened, you're the silent witness. He's telling you what the party smelled like. Baby oil, candles, Astroglide, pills, and the quiet hum of devices recording it all. What starts as temptation becomes evidence when somebody in power decides the tape is worth more than the secret. And once evidence moves, dominoes start lining up.
This tape that's being shopped around, a Diddy and another male, they say the other male is an A-list celebrity.
I would wonder if he's white or black. And if I'm looking at any black guys that are A-listers that's bigger than Diddy, is only one that I could come up with. And there's a few I could come up with. Will Smith, he's bigger than Diddy. I would think Nick Cannon is bigger than Diddy. Who else on the black, that are black actors or black in the business, there's an A-lister that's bigger than Diddy, that's black? That's hard to think. But then if you got the A-listers, you know, you got to realize he ran with that that Rat Pack, and I don't even say their names because they said I got their names wrong last time. What's his name? Kushner. What's the other guy? Leonardo. Yeah, his name. Man, I don't keep up with these cats. But I heard that that's not only the tape that's being shot. There's some other tapes out there, other people too with him. And him doing some things with some other people. So there's quite a few tapes that might be out there, what they're hearing. And I don't want to see the tapes, but I want to know if they really true. Because if they got if they got some tapes out there and it's with some underage, whether it's celebrities or not, it's gonna be crazy, bro. It's gonna be real crazy.
Hey, everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah.
That's
Here's where the story goes from messy to dangerous. People don't just collect tapes to relive the party. They collect tapes for leverage.
So you feel like they might be worried that they might be on tape at one of Diddy parties doing something they wasn't supposed to be doing?
I think that the celebrities that may be worried is because what Lil Rob said. Lil Rob said in his affidavit that Diddy had every room taped and bugged. Diddy had, can you imagine? He had every room taped and bugged, and they found little bugs or little tape recorders. Those micro projectors or whatever like that, or video cameras. They found them in the house, bro. So by them having those things in the house, and people know there's drugs, there's alcohol, there's loose women, there's loose men, woman on woman, man on man. They just wondering who or when they're gonna let this stuff be known, if it's on videotape.
No, they gotta be shook, man, after finding out he was recording everything.
But not only celebrities, I don't think it's only celebrities gonna be shook. He had politicians in there. He had princes in there. He also had a couple of preachers in there.
You personally, you think they got tapes?
Well, my personal opinion, that if Lil Rob could be trusted and his statement are true, they got them. They got tapes of stuff.
Leverage moves differently in the top rooms. You don't get a phone call offering friendship. You get a ledger of favors. That's how rumors turn into deals, and deals turn into protection. And then someone didn't play the song right. Someone got raided. Computers taken, boxes packed, phones lifted. When that happens, you don't just worry about the one person who lived in the house. You worry about everyone who ever warmed a chair inside. Folks said he might run. Folks compared it to other stars who tried to leave the country, but law enforcement had their eyes. Taps, flight logs, warrants. They weren't after one headline. They were after a paper trail. Now watch this. Sometimes raids aren't for arrests. They're for receipts. They collect what you hoped would stay private. And when receipts hit the table, the game changes. There's a name that keeps popping up, Lil Rob. There's a name that keeps getting mentioned, Gene Deal. People who once stood in the periphery now stand in the light. And when they talk, they use language that makes grown men shift in chairs. I heard a lot of things from these interviews. Cameras hidden in private rooms, audio devices tucked under sofas, micro recorders in corners. They find a bug, they find a tape, and suddenly the "it didn't happen" story evaporates. That line, it cuts cold. If you believe Lil Rob's affidavit and the witness who cleaned the devices, then yeah, there's enough to make a prosecutor want to listen. And once the feds get curious, they don't leave with empty hands. Now, I ain't here to spin fantasies. This is witness testimony and allegations. But witnesses don't talk for fun. They talk because the weight of what they saw pressed on their conscience. And when people like that speak, the world leans in.
Kind of a Diddy pack is what they would call it. And we would keep a satchel on us, and that's what we would have in that satchel.
Always on call, Phil witnessed many things he now wishes he hadn't. He says he worked on the periphery of Diddy's now infamous parties known as free call.
Power breeds patterns. The same names keep cropping up. Athletes, preachers, princes, politicians, people who move across continents like they own time. That's the pattern. A pattern that says, if it's happening in one room, it's probably happening in other rooms. And there's a special kind of silence that follows power. When your team hushes down the talk, two things are possible. Either they didn't do nothing, or they got reasons to keep the story quiet. I ain't taking sides. I'm just telling you how the silence reads. People who were close to the fire are saying the flame was supplied by more than one hand. That's the scary part. If a guy was a puppet and a player at the same time, used by higher powers and also building a private vault of secrets, you get a story with layers. Layers mean more people with something to lose. Now we step on the lawn of politics. This is where things get sticky. People remember old words, they remember old fights, they remember petty things that look like slights, but in Washington can become reasons to hold a grudge.
If this man is elected, we're not standing by no more getting. We're not scared of anybody standing up and standing by. We're on the verge of a race war. White men like Trump need to be banished. That way of thinking, it's real dangerous. When you look at it, we don't have no choice. You know what I'm saying? You can say what you want about Biden. I can't say I love the pick either, but hey, we got to get him in office.
That line right there makes it more difficult. It's politics, plain and simple. Pardons ain't gifts, they're political theater. You pardon to reward loyalty or to rewrite a chapter. If somebody used to call you names on the podium and later wants your help, that's messy. Now the theory that Trump might use the moment as pushback, that's talk. Some say it's petty, some say it's justice, but politics don't move on feelings. Politics moves on leverage. The tapes talk. The tapes can change what a politician fears. And a politician with reasons to fear will choose the headlines that protect them. Prosecutors are careful. When you log evidence, it becomes public eventually. That scares people who don't want to be part of the story. Let's zoom out. Beyond the parties, beyond the cameras. Some voices point fingers at industry architects. Clive Davis, Lucian Grange, figures whose names are threaded through decades of music power. They say these legends pick leaders, groom stars, and sometimes steer people toward darker paths for control. Now that part of the story tastes like conspiracy, but it's also what happens when a culture gets commodified. Someone's got to keep the machine running. Sometimes that means making a face, sometimes that means protecting a face. This idea that someone was selected to be the scapegoat or the enforcer, It's a heavy statement. If true, it means the system protected the machine more than the people. If false, it's a story told by people who feel betrayed. Either way, it makes you look at the role of power in the music business in a different light. Hear me when I say this. While we talk about cameras, politics, and industry kings, real people were harmed. The public drama is not the private trauma. Victims don't go viral for the right reasons. They go viral because they're asking to be heard. When a survivor files, it pulls a thread. That thread sometimes unravels a whole pattern. It's what gave prosecutors a place to look. It's what made witnesses speak up. It's also what made powerful people nervous. Whatever your view of the accused, the victims deserve to be seen and believed. That's not cancel culture. That's compassion. Justice systems exist for this reason, to sift through storm and story and find truth, or as close as we can get.
Y'all heard the same thing that I heard. When they raided his house, y'all saw the same thing I saw. They took computers, tapes. You think wasn't nothing on those tapes, y'all? You think they didn't log those tapes? Why did they, hold up. Yo, I just caught a jewel. They used the tape that Cassie sent them. That Cassie had. They used the tape that Cassie had that they showed to the jury. Why do you think they didn't use the tape that they got from Diddy house? Because that would have them had to log that in. It would have been public record. And at one given time, when it's a public record out of this trial, you could go see it. You could go get those tapes, copies of those tapes, because it's public record. It would have been public record, bro. It's a dirty game out here, man. It's a real dirty game. They are protecting somebody. Why did Damian Wim, the first prosecutor, he trying to put it off on Trump? Oh, Mr. Trump is coming in office, so I'm gonna leave before he get here. Right after he did the Diddy, right after he did the Diddy raid, right after they got the tapes and everything, he retired. Great job. Probably got $1 million house and all that shit somewhere. Because he definitely quit. And tried to put that shit off on Trump. Y'all saw what I saw. Y'all saw what we saw, the same shit. Y'all heard the same thing that I heard. They took over 256, cameras and who had that many cameras in their house? I don't give a how big the mansion is. It's crazy, man. It's dirty work. Listen, I know it's deeper than what we see. I know it's deeper.
Why don't big names speak? Why do some stay silent while others scream from rooftops? Because money buys silence, and fear buys silence, and sometimes shame buys silence. In Hollywood, silence is a currency. When someone the public expects to respond doesn't, people fill the silence with theories. Some say they're protecting themselves. Some say they're strategizing. Some say their name could be next. Here's the cold truth. Silence breeds suspicion. But silence can also be a legal move. Sometimes staying quiet is safer than saying something that can be used to your detriment later. So where do we stand? We got interviews that claim tapes, raids that collected devices, victims who filed, and a public trying to make sense of every rumor that passes for evidence. Some folks whisper about princes and preachers. Some folks whisper about politicians and producers. The whispers add up until you can't tell where the rumor ends and the record begins. But here's what's true in plain language. When powerful people collect secrets, secrets stop being private. And when secrets move into the wrong hands, courts, committees of oversight, the game gets ugly and it gets public. My only ask to you, stop treating this like a TV show. Treat it like a real mess that real people are living through. Watch the clips, listen to the witnesses, and then ask the question your elders taught you to ask. Who benefits and who pays?
To live through these things and hear your elders in the business, people like Patti LaBelle say, just avoid him, honey. And being taught to be just avoid him, honey. It's not good enough. Not when you live through these things, you're still suffering the PTSD created by all of this, and you're talking to a victim that's 20 years younger than you, and she's telling you the exact same thing that happened to you.
So
you want to know why there's no vindication for me? Because for 4 years, I've been screaming, not just Diddy, but Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters. And the victim-making machine kept going on.
Jay-Z has been notable by his silence since these charges were brought against Diddy. Why do you think that is?
Because that's what he does. He starts little fires everywhere, forces everyone involved to go and carry water while he sneaks away without a response. That changes now, Sean. You must respond. You have no choice. Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Robert Kelly, Sean Combs have one person in common, professionally and privately. Sean Carter. This has been a fist of tyranny that has been punching through.
We done walked through something heavy tonight. This ain't for clickbait. This is for folks who want to know how power looks when it's out of checks and how easy it is for secrets to become currency. If you want more breakdowns, I'll keep following this story. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share the clip. But do one thing. When you talk about people who ain't convicted, remember these are allegations and witness testimony. Let the justice system do its math while we keep our eyes open. Uncle Mike out. Keep your head up. Keep your people closer. And remember, the truth has a habit of coming through the cracks.